Extending human lifespan. Massively extending it.
Yeah, it's definitely out there. We're talking about controlling your environment, specifically the air, as a path to, well, extreme life extension.
They're not just selling a filter, are they?
No, not at all. They're proposing creating what they actually call the human paradise.
Human paradise. What does that even mean in this context?
It means a space where airborne toxins are.
Yeah.
Well, they claim nearly eliminated, close to zero.
Okay, so that paradise concept hinges on achieving this 6 free goal they talk about.
Exactly. It's very specific. 6 types of pollutants they want to get rid of completely.
And you list those out for us?
Sure, it's a total approach. They aim for air that's dust-free,
Ah,
germ-free,
right.
toxin-free, that's a big one, smoke-free, odor-free, and maybe the trickiest, heavy metal-free.
Wow. So everything from pollen down to, like, lead particles?
Pretty much. They argue that hitting all 6 targets deals with everything from simple irritants to the invisible chemical stuff that, causes long-term damage. Systemic corrosion, they call it.
Okay, achieving 6 free. That sounds like a massive technical challenge, especially the really fine stuff. How does the machine, this maze purifier, actually do it? They mentioned 8-second maze principle.
That's the core of it, yeah. The name maze purifier is really key here.
How so?
Well, most standard purifiers rely a lot on filters, like HEPA filters, right?
Yeah.
Surface filtration. But this system is specifically designed to tackle the ultrafine particles, the nanoparticles, that often just float right through those filters.
Okay, so break down how it works. What are the steps?
It starts off pretty fast. Step 1, you've got negative ion charging happening alongside a standard HEPA pre-filter.
Right, the first sweep.
Exactly. That grabs the bulky stuff, dust, pollen, microplastics, and also many VOCs, those volatile organic compounds from, furniture, paints, cleaning supplies.
Got it. That handles the bigger particles. But what about germs and chemical gases?
That's step 2, secondary ionization. So instead of just trapping germs, the stage uses energized ions to actually neutralize airborne pathogens.
Ah, so it zaps them.
Sort of, yeah. And it also starts breaking down complex chemical toxins. This is where they aim for that germ-free and toxin-free promise.
Okay, now the maze part. Where do the really tiny lightweight particles end up? The ones that are hard to filter.
Right, this is where it gets unique. Step 3, the air moves into what they call the electrostatic maze box.
Electrostatic, so static electricity.
Partially, but the real innovation is step 4, the maze effect. Instead of just pushing air straight through, the design forces it to make these really sharp, violent turns.
Like trying to corner really fast, like a race car on a hairpin turn.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, exactly. When the air makes those sudden, sharp changes in direction, the ultrafine nanoparticles, the ones too light to get stuck easily by just static charge, well, inertia forces them to slam into the walls of these maze chambers.
Ah, they can't make the turn.
They can't make the turn fast enough, so they crash, get trapped, and clump together, permanently removed.
So it's physics, basically. Inertia.
It's this combination of mechanical trapping through physics and electrostatics, and that, they claim, allows step 5, releasing this ultra-clean, genuinely 6-free air.
That's actually really clever, using physics against particles that are almost impossible to filter otherwise.
Gosh.
Okay, let's shift gears. Clean air is one thing, but the headline here is the life extension claim. How do we get from clean air to potentially living 200 years? That's a huge jump.
It is a huge jump, and this is where they make the biological leap. It all hinges on this foundational principle they've defined. They actually try to quantify aging.
Quantify aging?
With an equation. The core equation for their lifespan model is aging equals toxin accumulation rate minus detox capacity.
Could break that down. So our bodies are always trying to detoxify.
Right. Constantly running. Liver, kidneys, lungs.
But in our normal modern environment, we're taking in toxins faster than our body can process them out.
That's the theory. So there's a net accumulation over time leading to damage, which is aging, according to them.
And this purifier changes that equation.
Significantly, they argue.
Yeah.
The model really highlights the impact of just spending 12 hours a day. So mostly when you're sleeping or relaxing indoors inside this human paradise environment with near zero airborne toxins.
Okay.
Just doing that, they calculate drops your daily airborne toxin intake by over 50%.
50%. Just from the air you breathe for half the day.
That's the claim. And if you cut the incoming toxins by that much, well, your organs have a chance to react differently.
How so? Less work for them.
More than that, they argue it shifts from defense to offense, or rather to repair. When you're sleeping in truly clean air, your detox systems, liver, kidneys, lungs, even skin, are suddenly freed up from constantly fighting off the poison coming in with every breath.
Ah,
So instead of just playing defense, filtering out the bad stuff, they can switch entirely into accelerated repair mode. It changes sleep from a nightly battle into like pure, uninterrupted maintenance work at the cellular level.
okay, this is where it gets really wild, though. Moving from that theory to actual lifespan predictions.
Hmm.
The numbers they throw around are, well, they're huge. Let's start with their baseline. What do they assume is a normal lifespan now?
Right. The model starts by saying the potential biological human lifespan, if everything goes perfectly, is maybe around 80 years.
Okay, 80 sounds about right for potential.
But then, and this is crucial, the sources immediately say that continuous exposure to modern toxins, the air we breathe now, the typical environment actively shortens that potential down to only 65 to 70 years.
Hold on. 65 to 70. Are they seriously saying the environment we live in right now is potentially shaving 10 or 15 years off our lives compared to our natural baseline?
That's exactly what they're suggesting. That data point, honestly, it's maybe the most shocking part of their whole analysis.
Yeah, no kidding.
It reframes the whole thing. They're not saying the purifier adds 50 years to an 80-year life. They're saying, first, we need to recover the 10 or 15 years we're already losing just by living normally today.
Wow, okay. So if that grim 65-70 is the starting point in reality, what happens when you introduce this human paradise air for, say, 12 hours a day?
The projections definitely get dramatic. Just 12 hours a day in the air, 6-free environment. The estimated lifespan jumps to 100 to 120 years.
Okay, 100, 120. That's significant. That's recovering the lost years plus adding quite a bit.
A lot, yeah. Recovering and extending.
But what about those really huge numbers, the 150, 200, even 250 years? How do they get there?
Well, to hit those really high brackets, you need to tackle the whole toxin equation, not just the air, meaning diet. If you combine the 12 hours of clean air with a fully organic, really rigorous toxin-avoiding diet,
Okay.
the prediction hits 150 to 180 years.
180 years.
Yeah.
And the 200 plus.
That requires basically living full-time, 247, in a controlled clean air environment, plus maintaining that incredibly strict diet. If you do all that, the model projects 200 to 250 years.
250 years. That sounds, I mean, that's pure science fiction territory, isn't it?
Yeah.
What kind of specific research or clinical backing do they offer to make this jump from an equation to numbers like that?
They seem to rely heavily on calculations, estimating the reduction in things like oxidative stress markers in the body and calculating how long it delays hitting what they call organ saturation points. We can talk about that.
Okay.
But crucially, they emphasize these upper predictions are totally dependent on controlling the other major source of toxins, what you eat and drink.
Right, that makes sense. The foodborne toxins, that's the big caveat, isn't it?
It's the absolutely necessary caveat. Clean air only deals with maybe half the problem.
Because food is the other half.
Or even more, they suggest. The developers estimate that in modern society, food and drink contribute more than 50% of the body's total toxin load.
More than half. Wow.
Yeah. So if your diet stays full of, pesticides, preservatives, heavy metals,
Give us some examples. What are they targeting?
well, it's the stuff we hear about, but maybe don't always connect to lifespan like this. Pesticide residues on produce, obviously. Preservatives in processed foods. Heavy metals, think mercury in some fish, maybe arsenic in some imported grains.
Okay.
Then there are plasticizers and microplastics leaching from bottled water or food packaging, even just, carcinogenic compounds created when you heavily fry or grill foods. It all adds up to a daily toxic burn from diet.
So the scenario is you could be breathing perfectly clean air for 12 hours in your human paradise.
Right.
But if you then go out and eat processed food, drink from plastic bottles, maybe have some charred barbecue, the toxin accumulation rate, while maybe slowed by the clean air part, is still winning overall.
It absolutely still wins the race, according to their model. The warning is pretty stark. If that foodborne toxin intake stays high, the body is only slowing the damage. It's not halting the march towards, organ saturation and eventual failure.
So you have to control both sides of that equation, air and food, to get anywhere near those really long lifespans, beyond maybe 120.
Exactly. And let's be honest, achieving that kind of perfect, toxin-free, organic diet, that sounds incredibly difficult, maybe practically impossible for most people today.
That's a really important reality check.
It is. It immediately grounds the 250-year prediction. It's like a theoretical maximum under perfect conditions, not some kind of guarantee.
Okay, fair enough. So let's wrap up by looking at the scientific logic they offer. Why do they argue that just controlling toxins, both air and food ideally, leads to such dramatic longevity?
They basically give three connected arguments. The first one is kind of like systems engineering. They view the body as a biological engine.
Mm.
And continuous exposure to toxins, that's like system corrosion, sand in the gears. So less corrosion just equals a longer engine life. Organs function better for longer. Simple as that.
Makes sense. What's the second argument?
The second one ties back directly to that 12-hour clean air period, especially sleep. They call it the sleep equals repair window argument.
Right, we touched on this.
Yeah. The idea is when the air you breathe while resting is toxic, your body has to divert resources to defense, to filtering. Clean air frees up those resources. It lets sleep become a time for pure, restorative cellular repair, not just cleanup. And doing that night after night compounds the anti-aging effect.
Okay, engine maintenance and better repair cycles.
Hmm.
What's the third piece of logic? It sounds like it addresses the ultimate endpoint.
It does. It's this concept they call toxin accumulation saturation.
Saturation.
Yeah. The theory basically says that every vital organ, your liver, your kidneys, lungs, maybe even your brain, has a kind of maximum toxin tolerance limit, like a bucket. Once that limit is reached, once the bucket overflows from years of accumulation, the organ starts to fail. And that systemic failure is what ultimately limits lifespan.
So the human paradise idea.
By drastically reducing the rate at which toxins accumulate, it dramatically delays hitting that saturation point for every organ, pushes it back by decades, potentially allowing organs to function way past what we currently think of as their natural expiry date.
So it's less about a miracle cure for aging itself and more about removing the environmental factors that accelerate breakdown, letting the body run its natural, much longer course.
That's pretty much the core message from their research, yeah.
Yeah.
They position this as maybe the beginning of the first toxin-controlled civilization,
Yeah.
where we manage our environment so effectively that our body's detox systems can actually keep up, maybe even get ahead. Detox faster than you accumulate.
Allowing sustained organ function much longer.
That's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've really mapped out the two critical variables according to this model.
Mm.
Reducing airborne toxins, ideally with something like this 6-free technology, and simultaneously controlling foodborne toxins through a really rigorous diet.
Those are the two pillars for extreme longevity in their view.
Which leads to a pretty provocative final thought for you, the listener, doesn't it?
I think so. If we accept, just for a moment, their foundational equation, aging, toxin accumulation rate, detox capacity, and if their data suggesting that just living in our current environment might shorten potential lifespan down to 65 or 70 years, well, it forces you to ask, how much of your daily life, beyond just the air you happen to be breathing right now, is actively speeding up that accumulation rate?
Where are the toxins you don't even think about?
Exactly. Where are your unseen toxins hiding? In your food, your water, your home products, your habits? What decisions are you making, maybe unknowingly, that this equation suggests are essentially chipping away at your own future?
A really powerful question to consider. It certainly reframes how we might think about health and longevity.
Huh.
Thank you for digging into this with us.